You pride yourself on being a good person. Kind, compassionate, moral. You'd never hurt anyone intentionally. You're nothing like those toxic people, those narcissists, those manipulators. You're different, better, enlightened. But Carl Jung has something to tell you, and you're not going to like it. You're not better than them. You're exactly like them. The darkness you see in others, it's in you too. You've just learned to hide it better. Even from yourself, especially from yourself. And that denial, it's destroying everything. Jung called it the shadow, the part of yourself you refuse to acknowledge, the traits, impulses, and desires you've deemed unacceptable, the anger you learned to suppress, the selfishness you were taught to hate, the manipulation you convinced yourself you don't possess, the cruelty you buried so deep you forgot it exists. But it does exist, in you, in everyone, because humans aren't pure light. We're light and dark, angels and demons, saints and sinners, all of it, simultaneously. And when you reject the darkness, when you pretend you're only light, you don't transcend the shadow, you empower it. This is Jung's most disturbing insight. The shadow doesn't go away when you deny it. It goes underground, into the unconscious, where it grows stronger, more autonomous, more destructive, operating from the darkness, influencing your life in ways you can't see and refuse to believe. Here's how the shadow works. Whatever you can't accept in yourself, you project onto others. That co-worker you hate for being arrogant, that's your own arrogance you refuse to own. That friend who's too needy, that's your own neediness you've disowned. The traits that trigger you most intensely are always traits you possess but won't acknowledge. Jung said, everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. Not sometimes. Always. Your reactions are mirrors. The people you judge are showing you your shadow, and the more violently you react, the more deeply you're denying something in yourself. This is why self-righteous people are so dangerous, not because they're evil, but because they can't see their own evil. They're convinced they're good, so when their shadow acts out, when they hurt people, when they manipulate or control or destroy, they justify it. Because good people don't do bad things, right? So it must be justified, it must be necessary, it must be someone else's fault. When you deny your shadow, you pay a price, a steep one. You lose access to your power, because your shadow isn't just darkness. It contains your vitality, your passion, your creativity, your authentic strength. When you reject the shadow, you reject half of your life force. You become a people pleaser, because you've exiled your healthy selfishness. You can't say no, can't set boundaries, can't prioritize yourself, because that would be bad, and you're good. So you sacrifice yourself on the altar of niceness, wondering why you feel so powerless. You attract toxic people. Because you've disowned your own toxicity, it shows up externally. The narcissist you keep dating, the manipulator you keep befriending, they're embodying your shadow, living out the traits you won't claim, and you'll keep attracting them until you integrate what they represent. You experience sudden, inexplicable outbursts. The shadow, when suppressed too long, erupts. The nice person who suddenly rages. The peaceful person who explodes in violence. The rational person who acts completely irrationally. That's not a loss of control. That's the shadow taking control. Because you wouldn't give it any legitimate expression. Jung's insight extends beyond the individual. Societies have shadows too. Collective denials. The things we all agree not to see. And throughout history, these collective shadows have led to unimaginable horror. Nazi Germany wasn't created by monsters. It was created by ordinary people who projected their shadow onto a scapegoat. The Jews became the repository for everything they couldn't accept about themselves, their greed, their otherness, their weakness. And once the projection was complete, extermination felt righteous. This is the danger of shadow denial. It doesn't lead to transcendence, it leads to atrocity, both personally and collectively. When you can't see your own darkness, you become capable of anything. Because you're always the hero of your own story, always justified, always right, and that delusion is more dangerous than honest darkness ever could be. So how do you integrate the shadow? How do you reclaim the darkness without becoming consumed by it? It starts with honesty, brutal, humiliating, liberating honesty. Admit what you've been denying. Yes, you're selfish sometimes. Yes, you're manipulative. Yes, you're judgmental. Yes, you're cruel. Not all the time, not proudly, but sometimes. And that's okay. That's human. The goal isn't to eliminate these traits. It's to acknowledge them, to bring them into consciousness where they can be managed instead of acting out unconsciously. Pay attention to your judgments. Every criticism you level at others is a potential shadow element. Ask yourself, do I ever do this? Have I ever done this? Could I do this under the right circumstances? The answer is almost always yes. And that admission is the beginning of integration. Embrace your anger, your lust, your jealousy, your pettiness, not by acting them out destructively, but by acknowledging them internally, by giving them space to exist without shame. Your shadow doesn't need to run your life. It just needs to be seen, accepted, integrated into the totality of who you are. Here's the paradox. When you accept your darkness, you become less dangerous, not more. When you own your capacity for evil, you're less likely to commit it. Because conscious darkness can be managed. Unconscious darkness can't. The people most capable of genuine goodness are those who face their shadow, who know what they're capable of, who understand that under the right circumstances, they could become the villain. This knowledge doesn't corrupt them, it humbles them, it makes them vigilant, it keeps them honest. Jung said, "I'd rather be whole than good." Not because goodness is bad, but because the pursuit of purity leads to fragmentation, to projection, to shadow possession. True goodness doesn't come from denying darkness, it comes from integrating it, from choosing light while acknowledging the darkness you contain. When you integrate your shadow, you become whole. Not perfect, not pure, but whole. And wholeness is power, real power, not the fake power of pretending to be good, but the authentic power of being fully human. You stop judging others so harshly because you've accepted the same traits in yourself. You develop compassion, not the condescending pity of someone above, but the genuine empathy of someone who understands, who knows they're capable of the same failures. You reclaim your vitality, your passion, your creative fire. Because it's all connected to the shadow, you can't have life force without accepting the fullness of life. Light and dark, good and evil, creation and destruction, it's all you. And when you own all of it, you become unstoppable. You live with integrity, not because you're trying to be good, but because you're being honest. You know who you are, what you're capable of, and you choose, moment by moment, who to be. Not from denial, but from awareness. And that choice, made consciously, is infinitely more powerful than unconscious repression. The dark side you refuse to see is destroying your life. Not because darkness is bad, but because denial is. As long as you pretend you're only light, your shadow will control you from the unconscious. It will sabotage your relationships, undermine your goals, and erupt in ways you can't predict or control. But there's another way, the way of integration, of wholeness, of radical honesty about who you really are. Light and dark, good and evil, human, fully human. And when you walk that path, when you face your shadow and integrate it, you become something you've never been before. You become whole. So here's my question. What darkness have you been denying? What trait do you judge most harshly in others? Because that's your shadow. That's where the work begins. Comment below. Let's bring it into the light together. If this challenged you, subscribe. Because the path to wholeness isn't comfortable, but it's the only path that leads to real freedom, real power, real life, and it starts now.